Hello, everyone, and welcome in to another episode of Brace for Impact. It is episode 35. I'm joined by the robotic man himself. Can't stop shaking, shuddering, moving, because that's what his camera does. It's Benikage.
Listen, okay, I'm gonna be. You remember that episode where I had the brain delay and you called
Yeah.
me out on it? Okay, I'm gonna have the physical delay now because I've actually brought the walker in. Okay, you can see
You
it there in the
brought the
background. I
walker
brought the
in.
walker in. It's
There
not
we
my
go.
walker.
He's leading into the memes chat. We're in. We're in.
Listen, sometimes you just gotta. When life gives you lemons, you gotta make lemonade, right? That's
Yeah.
the way it works.
Well, it's been 2 weeks. We finally decided to do things, the things and the stuff and the things. How has your 2 weeks been, Benny?
It's been good. I need to get back into like commentating ESEA. I've done a few VODs. I did a few live stuff.
Yeah.
I completely wrecked my sleep schedule over the OCE Cash Cup, which we'll talk about actually in the next episode.
Episode, yeah.
But I'm happy for CS to be back. Like when CS ended, just real quick, when CS ended, uh, I was like, oh my god, we get 4 or 5 weeks. Thank God. I've been begging for a break and stuff like that. And then what do you call it? By the end of the 5 weeks, I'm like, oh my god, CS is back tomorrow. Yeah, I can't wait for CS to be back. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now I'm in the swing of things. I'm like, CS is back, sleep is gone, and it's back to the grind basically.
Back
So
to the grind.
yeah.
That is 100% what it is.
What
Well,
about you?
listen, you took a break. I didn't. I I took one hand out of the cookie jar and I put the other hand in, kind of sort of thing. Uh, my my
I
my
like that.
my
I
role
like
moved.
that.
My role moved around a little bit, but we keep moving on stuff. So having fun, building bridges. Hopefully, some stuff, things that kind of vibe. Speaking of stuff and things, there's some news for us to cover. Now we're not,
Yeah.
like you said, we're not doing the cash cups this week because there's 3 weeks of cash cups in a row. So there's no point in doing ours now. Might as well just that entire episode could be cash cups. Why not, right?
Yep.
Let's just leave it for
Yep.
that. The next little thing that comes up, of course, then is news. We've got a lot of roster movement and a lot of award shows. The HLTV awards came and went, and we've
Oh,
got
I didn't
roster
even
moves.
type up about the HLTV awards. That's right.
We're not worried about that. We know who
Yeah.
won. We
Yeah,
know
that's
who
true.
won. If you didn't know
they
who
were they
won,
were literally the most predictable
if you
awards, to
didn't
be
know who,
fair. Like
yeah, if you didn't know who won, here's who won. Nigma Galaxy won Team of the Year, and Ana won Player of the Year, and that's kind of that. They, interestingly enough, I guess the biggest notable thing was the message that Nigma had for everybody was, don't get please step up and add more lands to our season. We
yeah, we
want to
need
see
more
more.
TOs in the scene.
Yeah, we want to see
Yeah.
more from everybody else. Because right now it's just been ESL, right? It's ESL show, and that is it. Um, all right, moving on from that, then we'll get back to the awards in a second. We got some stuff to talk about. Sure. Uh, moves. A lot of moves happening around. It's mostly North America and Brazilian focus this time around, just because we haven't seen too much from the European side yet.
Yes. A little bit though, but let's
A little bit.
start with South America, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna take this because I know your pronunciation's a
Please
little.
go for it.
No,
That's your
I mean that
that
by
is
no
that
offense,
is
by the way.
your territory. We have like a line that goes
Okay.
through Panama. It's called a canal. Everything below is yours.
Everything below is okay, cool. So Atrix, we'll start with Atrix. Atrix, you remember Bocour's team signed
Yes.
by her dad. They've made a roster change, so Yojina stepped down for personal and mental health reasons,
Right.
which is totally understandable. And I wish, she mainly just wants a break, and I can understand that. It really
100%.
can be a grind, especially in Brazil when those leagues, unlike ESEA where it's every 3 months or whatever, it's literally every month.
Yeah.
Like it's nonstop competition. So she's stepping away, and they've picked up Sophia. So Sophia, I believe, was a bit of a free agent. I want to say before this. Sophia XYZ. They've played with her before. You've certainly seen her in the Cash Cups on these pug teams.
Right.
So been and around. It's a solid pickup. I think they lose a lot with Yojina leaving though. Like that's a lot of firepower. And that's kind of my main concern is that Yojina, this is former W7M when they were a punchy, team that was constantly there for like third, fourth best in the region. And it's like, that's just a lot that you're gonna have to replace on the server. So we'll see how Atrix do. They obviously have a very, very well rounded and incredibly intelligent and game leader in Bokor. I'm looking forward to seeing how they compete, but that's the first big change down in South America. Rolling right on to the second one. The second big announcement in South America is that MIBR have made it official. They've added Donnie. Now, those that remember, Donnie was part of this Davina side, right? That
Right.
beat them in the ESL Impact League in
Yeah.
the South American League, the online league. And Davina were really MIBR, I believe, actually were the ones that got relegated at the end of the season.
Yes.
Not that
Yeah.
that's really going to be an issue for them. They'll requalify easily, but at least that's the expectation,
Well,
right?
now with
But
Donnie, they should qualify.
100%, because you remember in that series, she absolutely just ripped MIBR apart.
Yeah.
And now it's one of those things where um, now they've added that firepower. So this is the MIBR side that at Gamers Club Masters Femenina, mind you, 8 without, or I can't remember if it was with or without Donnie. It's too long ago. Once you get past 30 days, my memory expires. But they beat Fluxo,
Yes.
right, to play Furia,
Right.
and so now you're bringing Donnie into the equation. This is they're gonna be really competitive. I think this is a huge pickup for MIBR, because they want to be number one in the region, and Furia and Fluxo have kind of had that on lock, but this gives them a good chance to try and fight for that number one, I think.
100%. Well, here's some good luck. I love the tweet when it gets translated in English. It says, "It is with a lot of happiness that I announce that I am now MIBR." So Donnie is MIBR. I think that's the best way to put that. I am esports. Okay.
But she's literally made in Brazil, so
There you
like,
go.
I
Well,
mean, it makes sense.
Isn't she Argentine?
Donnie?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna make me look this up?
Uh-oh.
I'll look it up.
You go
You
look it
get on
up.
to the next piece
You
of
go look
news.
it up. You go look it up. I'm gonna keep following because we're into the North American side of player movement now. Somebody, I think this is the best news that we've seen in a while. Yuli has joined a team in advanced called 28 Rising. You have to remember Yuli played on EG Gold most recently.
No, she's Brazilian, by the way.
She's Brazilian. Okay, I thought there was an Argentinian player. Well, they dropped it to Argentina. I thought they picked.
China, yeah.
Okay, so anyways, going back to Yuli, she is joining a team called 26 Rising in SCA Advanced. That's as the Dust 2 article states, the last time her playing in that division since she was with LG Red in season 8, a whole 10 seasons ago. And it's her first time playing on a mixed roster since 5 when she was playing with such names Voltage, Jaro, and Voltage is of course a big name playing ECL. He was very close to being pro, so that's kind of there. Yeah, it's a very interesting roster that she joins. It's not a full complete roster yet, but it has some kind of promise there, and I think it'll be an interesting proving ground for her because I think we've known for a while, at least with specifically, that she's at an advanced level caliber. Like she's on par with the FlyQuest Red girls. Even in some cases, I would feel like a better player than, but that's server side stuff. She's in a good spot. She's competent enough to be in advance. It'll be interesting to know where she goes from here because it's one of those things of like it's a mixed gender team and we see so few of those, so it's really interesting. They recognize the talent there and they've gone, let's just go for this. What can go wrong?
I agree, and she's very young as well, so she still
Yes.
has a lot to offer in the Counter-Strike space, and it's one of these things where like you never really knew what was going to happen because she came back to CS, she got a salary, that was kind of the intention,
Yeah.
that's what she had before she left CS, and now that's the goal, that's the drive, and EG obviously completely imploded on its face, and
To no fault of the
what do you,
players, like to the fault of
no, to
that
the fault of the
organization.
org. I mean, EG the org, not
Yeah.
EG the team. EG
Yeah.
the org fell flat on its face. And what do you call it? there was a worry that we were going to lose a lot of good players. I'm still worried that we're going to lose a lot of players. We're seeing them plug out the cash cups again.
Yeah.
More on that next episode, but it's great to see her find a home and in a competitive division where she can really show her talents. This is a player that before CLG even picked her up, by the way, was a competent main player.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a team she used to play with on a team. Okay, this is
This is a
going way
long way
back.
back. You got to go a long way
This
back.
is going on a team. She used to play on a team called Trying to Ball with My Bros, and it was a mixed team. It's obviously one of these pickup teams that you form in ESEA, but they were like semi-competitive. They were like a 500 team in ESEA, if I remember, in Maine, right? So it's like that was her at 16, 17. Like she's come a long way. She's got a lot of great experience, a pretty solid CV with CLG Red, EG
Yeah.
Gold now. 26 Rising is just going to add to that. So, really, I think the trajectory for Yuli is still on the up, and that's what I hope we see here, where they're moving to 26 Rising.
All right, and then the final move in North America that happened recently was Team Karma. We've known that they have been playing with Bungie for a while. It was noticeable in the last after the season of Impact that they were playing with usually their coach and for all their ES. And it was just one of those things of like, I wonder who they're eventually going to. Well, they announced it a few days ago, and it was Artstar who come back. Notably, she played for Hyperion this season before. That project did not go well, unfortunately. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how she performs because it's kind of like Yodinia for Sophia. Artstar is a very known name. She's very good back in the day. It'll be interesting to kind of capture that again because in my eyes, you're losing a lot of firepower when you lose Bungie. But it'll be interesting to see if there is a bounce back because now she's had a season away from Valorant in Counter Strike, playing more, been practicing, gaming. We'll see what happens, kind of thing.
I mean, this is going to go one of two ways, right?
Yeah.
This is going to go either the same fear that I expressed on the last episode with these players that have gone to Val and come back and they haven't found their form.
Yep.
I think it's either going to go that way, or that there's the chemistry there between these three. They've been teammates for a long time prior, right?
Yep.
That they have a piece in Ellie that they've been a teammate with over in Val. So that chemistry aspect is still there, right?
Yes.
And then obviously the fifth being Olya. We know the quality that she has.
Yep.
Like we know what she brings to the table. So I think now you look at this and Bungie was a very competent player. That's not to say Bungie didn't, there was no chemistry there, but it's just the fact that I think that you have more of the experience and the pieces of what you're looking for by picking up Artstar because you've won championships with her in the past.
Right.
So, I think that's something that is, if you look at the, any sports broadcast or anything always has that moment where it's like, what's the intangible? What's the X factor? She's going to bring it because she has it given the history within this team. So I think it's a solid move. On paper, I need to see it translate to the server because I think that's what we haven't seen from a lot of players who have gone to Val and come back is that it transfers into the server. So,
right.
we'll see. I think, but I think it's a good pickup for all things intended.
All right, and then the last roster move of the episode, Ents Athena. They've had a few Art Monka and
Oxyset?
Oxyset.
I
I'd
don't
say
know.
Oxyset. Oxyset sounds right. So Oxyset and Monka have left the roster. They've welcomed in Emmons, Emsan,
Amazon? Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
roster. So I
Young player, by the way. She's
very
like
young,
very young.
17 years old. Yeah, it'll be an interesting kind of move around to see what happens with that because as far as I was aware, Ents were looking okay towards the end of
Yeah,
last
they're
season.
kind of still the same level
Yeah,
they were.
it's
You know what I mean? On the fringe.
yeah, well, I think the whole reason they were picked up as well is because it's the development process. They're not exactly like Astralis where they went full development, full Danish development. They
like
said,
a Copenhagen Flames used to be.
yeah, Astralis went
Yeah.
full Copenhagen Flames. Um, Ents have gone middle of the road. Like they've got a good roster that's still developing and still might take them a bit to get kind of in towards the upper echelon if they do get there. There's a lot of ifs and coming from this roster. So it's a roster
But
move.
who's I have to see who else they pick up because they dropped 2.
Yeah, we'll have to see who the
And
fifth
I don't
one's
know
gonna
who
be.
the other one is. But I will say this, Parks, it's a finding and a half when they announced this change, this addition, and I wasn't even following the player on Twitter. I was like, who is this? Where have they found this?
Yeah.
But it fits in line. I believe she's Finnish, right? Ents is a Finnish org.
Yep.
So, young talent, they want to develop. They are it's kind of the way of the Straws, but it's not, we're going to uproot the whole team to do so. So, I think I'll be interested to see how it works out, obviously. But yeah, I think I really don't know much about the player. I got to be honest with you because I haven't had the liberty of seeing her compete.
All right, I think we're gonna blitz through the next because they're all kind of we're gonna move slightly over now from the news more awards, like award season kind of finishing off in our top
Yep.
20. We're top 20 will be after this. So a lot of the Brazilians have their own award show for Gamers Club, and there were 3 awards handed out for and
Well,
players.
I would put it this way, there were multiple awards, like
Yeah,
tons of awards. There was like 10 or 15 awards.
right.
But uh, players from the women's teams in Brazil won 3 of them.
Right.
So including well, I should say 2 players in one org, right?
Yeah.
So we'll go with these and we'll go with the org one, right?
Yeah.
Gamers Club had a award for the best roster reveal. So you ever know the roster reveal? Like I
Yeah, you
know,
get like a music video or whatever.
yeah, FlyQuest did that one where at the end Mads was like the diving deagle, remember?
Right.
Um, that was way back when they announced the signing of. So Fluxo Demons won that award with their trailer for the teams. It was really good.
Yes,
I'm
it
gonna
was.
be
It was
honest with you.
very good.
It was very good. So they won over MIBR, Imperial, and Furia. So it wasn't like a women's award. It was an overall award, right?
Yeah.
Because Imperial's in there. They don't have a women's team. But it was a really good award. Like the whole branding that they've done with that side is just fantastic. Like people didn't understand that branding carries you so far. Like look at Red and look at the Demons and look at just how much the branding just feeds into what they're trying to accomplish, right?
Yeah. All right.
Um,
So then the other 2 awards that came through, they had one
mhm,
specifically for they had Women's Player of the Year.
yep.
Junger took that one. Very her. And then as well they had Gamers Club Young Player of the Year. And I think we all know kind of there's one player that really stands out head and shoulders above everybody else. Not only in terms of her age when she's playing at such a high level, but also how high level she's playing at. And that's Poppins. Poppins wins the Gamers Club Young Player.
Yeah.
And that's
And that was also that's also a mixed award, right?
yes.
Poppins went up against a few others. I want to say Snows,
Okay.
NQZ, and No Ways Al. So is what who Poppins went up against. So Snow, I believe, is from I can't remember actually off the top of my head, but one of them was from Pain. I know that. I think
Right.
NQZ was from Pain. So, Snow is from Case, and No Ways Out's from Imperial.
Right.
So, Poppins won that. And the crazy thing is, she's so good. She was one of the nominees for Player of the Year as well, which
Oh wow.
Khan Gabi from Furia were the other 2 nominees. So that Junger beat out for the award. So yeah, that was a big
Awesome.
congratulations to Fluxo, Poppins, Junger, obviously, and then all the nominees as well.
All right. And then real quick because we want to move on to the top 20 accordance with female guesses top 20. We have Draft 5 GG's top 10 Brazilian players. That's their betting organization down there that did something. This is for the top 10 women guest players, and I'm just going to go quickly. Goddess is 10. Poppins comes in at 9. Julie,
Julie.
Julie, sorry, Julie. It's so weird because up
I
here
know,
it's
because there's
Julie,
Julie.
and
I
down
know.
here it's Julie. So Julie comes in at number 8. Nani comes 7. Gabs 6, and I think you get to do the last 5 here.
Okay, Anna is number 5 from Furia. Gabi from Furia as well, number 4. It's a Furia. It's just a Furia train because it's Issa, number 3. Ka from Furia, number 2, and then number 1 from Draft5.gg is Fluxos Junger. So literally 2nd through 6 is the entire Furia side, and then 1st and 7th through 10th is the entire Fluxos side.
Yeah.
Nobody else got into the top 10. But that's not to mean that there's there's other good players down in Brazil,
There's
as
so
we're going to
many.
find out with our top 20. But that leaves us with our top 20 parks. So let's start with femalecs.coms. They're the official ones.
Yes.
They do this every year. They release a top 20, and they have released the top 20 players in 2024 or 2023. I'll do the bottom 10. I'll leave you with the top 10 for this one.
Okay.
Number 20 was Nani from
Don't say the teams
Fluxo.
because I'm not going to remember any of the teams. Move on, man.
That's fine. Number 19 was Gabi from Furia. Number 18 was Zana of Big Equipa at the time. 17 was Victoria from Nine Pandas. Letty was 16. I believe she's from Navi Javelins, if I remember correctly. 15 was Fatal from Nine Pandas, which is insane that team has dropped, by the way. Fatal's literally sitting here in the top 20.
Yeah.
Ka is 14th from Furia. Lena from Navi Javelins was number 13. Junger from the Demons, who won all the awards in Brazil, only comes in at number 20 here in the top 10. Top 20, I should say only 12, but that's quite an achievement nonetheless. Astra from NIP at the time came in at number 11. And Parks, hit us with the top 10.
Well, Bibian comes in hard at number 10, followed by Hanka at number 9, Belka 8, Vilga number 7, Olga number 6, 23 at number 5, Corey number 4, Pat number 3, Biku number 2, and Anna number 1. So that is the top 20 from Female CS, and of course there is a huge thread from on their Twitter with all the players,
with all the stats,
all the awards,
where they performed,
exactly, everything like that. So huge resource to come through, and that leaves us with our top 20s. And
yes,
I really don't want to.
Let you
right there.
You listen. You do what you're gonna do. I got the gift of gab, so I can't say I'm not gonna mention things. But I'll let you lead off.
Okay. Well. Okay. I think I'm gonna start with my honorable mentions just because I think this is one of those things. There was no honorable mentions in top 20 that yes brought through.
Right.
We added a few of our own that kind of just like, hey, here's like a set amount. So I'm gonna go. I will talk through my whole list. I'm not gonna explain it. I can't be well.
You do you.
Gabi, Bokur, Ramzan, Huzel, Jawu, and Olya are my honorable mentions. Tried to grab a few from the region because everybody all the regions have their good players. And I feel like that's something.
Yeah.
You look at a player like Jawu, who was very impressive at the end of the year from what we saw, but like they play a whole bunch what we don't see, right? What we don't get to.
Yeah, exactly.
So I thought worthy of an honorable mention. And then of course, Olya and Vanessa, two players that are up and coming in NA. A lot of perspective movement there from one of them. So that's definitely something that's worth mentioning. Like, even if they don't crack the top 20 and they don't have the results to back up being a top 20 player, there's definitely something there. Keep an eye on this. All right, coming in my top 20. Number 20, Mads. Number 19, Nani. Number 18, Hanka. Number 17, Victoria. Number 16, Astra. Number 15, Empathy. Number 14, number 13, EFI. Number 12, Goose Breeder. Number 11, number 10, Poppins. Number 9, Fatal. Number 8, Dion. Number 7, Ka. Number 6, Bilga. Number 5, Olga. Number 4, Angelka. Number 3, Tori. Number 2, Viku. Number 1, An. So top 2 is exactly the same as female guesses. Angelka, Tori, and Olga are all in that kind of top upper echelon there. And I am a little bit NA biased. I'll say I'm a little NA biased on this just because I see the NA
Yeah,
games, and I am
yeah.
an NA person myself. So there's a few NA players in there.
I
Cool to
mean,
see.
there's a few things about your list that I like GFI. I don't think gets enough credit for how good of a player she is,
Yeah,
and please forgive me, Ramona, for what I'm about to say, but especially for her age, because you know that players obviously, you know, you have a
she's on
prime,
the
and
older side. She's on the older side,
yes,
but she's
yeah,
still a good player, and that's exactly what
yeah,
you want.
exactly. And she puts up some unreal numbers. She was very impressive at the season 4 land finals, and I'm
Yep.
like, this is the oldest player in the field, and that's
Yes.
why I was hoping they beat Nigma, because I'm like, man, the oldest player
They were
in the field
close. They were
shows up and
close.
takes y'all to town. Oh man, you know that's gonna have a special place in my heart. But yeah, what's interesting too is that Poppins is in your list because she's in mine. She's not in female CS top 20, which is really interesting because it's like it shows you the quality of players that are in Brazil. Really,
Yeah.
like you look at the draft's top 10, right? The draft
Right.
5.gg's top 10, and Poppins is below all the members of Furia. Well, Gabi is 19th on femalecs.com's list, and then Nani just squeaks in at 20 from Furia. So it's like there's just that much competition. The other thing I really like about your list, and she's in mine as well, is you've included empathy,
Yeah.
because I don't think people, and I think it's really hard for the stats to reflect this. I don't think people really appreciate how good of a player empathy is. And the reason I said it's
She's
because when you get the domestic leagues, she just tears
yeah.
house,
She
right?
just she just wins. Like that's the whole
Yeah,
thing, right?
exactly. And she's been like that since we saw season 1 EG Gold. Like she's just been unreal the whole time. But then you get to the international lands and she doesn't have those performances. And you go, well, why? And it's like, well, first off, it's usually a team without a lot of practice or without a coach, or, you know, season 1 their coach
Stand-ins.
was, yeah, the season 1 their
It's
coach was Antar, I think.
yeah.
And I'm like, it just like it's one of these things where it's like, you had the stand-ins, the situation with those, right? And it's like, who do they get paired up against? The two at both lands that they would. Oh, Nigma's their opening game, like
Yeah.
mid.
Well, this time
You're
time
not.
around it was not. Yeah, and then I mean, to get to the finals here, it was Navi, and they were playing as a
Oh, that's right.
stand-in,
Yeah, it was
and then
Navi,
they
but
had to play
still, the other
Furia
time they
immediately
faced
afterwards.
Nigma
Is
right
yeah.
off the bat. Yeah, so it's like they're
The
because
craziest
it's a
part
team
is
game.
sorry. The craziest part is both finals they went to, both finals Shimmer went to, they played 1-day tournaments because they were
Yeah,
in the group that had their
yeah,
best of 3
exactly.
on the
Yeah,
first day, and it's like, come on, man,
yeah,
that's so stupid. But yeah,
exactly.
I don't know. I feel like she for how dominant she is domestically, I feel like that has
Hmm.
to translate it somewhere. And that's one of the things.
But
Like
it's so hard. It's a team game. Like
exactly
it's so
right.
hard. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. So it's like it's just one of those things of like if she's getting recognition for being the top rated player overall across all of the leagues, like if she's top rated player domestically, like that has to account for something. Even if like when you look at female CS's ratings, it can't 100% be like that because there's so many other tournaments worldwide that demand more points and more recognition than what your domestically should. No.
yeah, I think the main thing too, just to point out, is
Yeah.
like, because you look at like a BBon that came from Mind Freak, and people go, oh well, BBon, what was able to stand out enough that CLG, at the time CLG, took a look at her and whatnot. And I'm like, yes, but she came from Mind Freak. They have an org, they have backing. You know what I mean? Sure,
Yeah.
it's not a huge org or anything like that. I mean, it's pretty big in Australia, but it's like it's the fact that when you're behind an org like that, right? And the reason why we push that we want to see orgs in the scene is because they have resources to take care of small little things that now the players don't need to worry
Yeah.
about. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like
100%.
that makes a huge difference. And so then when you get a player like Empathy, who has basically been since season 2 on a bug team, you know, that's not available for her. She has to take care of those little small things herself. And all of that just changes the entire structure of how you train and whatnot. And it takes away from what teams with that support system have. So but yeah, that I had to put her on the list. I think she's way too good to be out of any list, the top 20 this year. So let's get into, if you don't mind, then
Yeah, your top
my
20.
list.
Let's go for it.
I do like your honorable mentions. You did 6, I did 10 because I just like top 30. I was thinking like top 30, but here's 10 that wouldn't be in the top 30. So I did Kyosa from G2, Oya, the young player, Bokor, obviously the in-game leader from Atrix. Gabi is actually not. I messed up because I actually put Gabi in the honorable mentions and in the top 20.
Your top 20.
So I did 9 honorable mentions.
There you go.
But Kyosa, Bokor, I did Xiaowu as well because I'm like, remember, she wasn't in season 3 because she took a break from the game.
Yeah.
She came back and she looked like she was good in season 2 when they made that run. But like she was, even though HSG didn't get to the playoffs at season 4, she looked way better in season 4 than she did in season 2. And she was a force to be reckoned with in season 2.
I don't think it's even much of a hot take. I think if HSG were in the other group, they would have made playoffs.
Oh, 100%.
Like potentially even the finals. Like that was
100%. I agree with that. Yeah. My other next honorable mention is actually Fox from NA. I think she's had a really solid, consistent year.
Yeah.
Not a player that's going to light it up, but every time you demand a performance, she's going to be there to give you a solid performance. Nani and Goddess are both honorable mentions from Fluxo. I don't think it's a huge surprise. Goddess is a great in-game leader. Nani's been a great rifler in Go. Towards season 3, the first half of the season, she was phenomenal. She snuck in at 20 on femalecs.com's list, and she snuck in at 19 on yours. So, like, for her to be an honorable mention of mine, I don't think it's too egregious. Olya and Abby, you mentioned Olya before. I think Abby's had a really good year. I think she's a really solid player overall. And then
I'm
Kitty
gonna make
TM.
a joke. I'm gonna hold on. I have to make a joke because she's gonna hate me either way for not
God.
mentioning her. Abby is 0-1 when going up against fences.
No, it's not against fences. It's not against. It's against gates.
You're right. The Shimmer Girls do actually watch these episodes and come back to me and talk about it.
Oh no!
They tell me stuff, and I kind of laugh. I'm just like, that's funny. I'm not gonna say anything.
I've done myself in here.
Yeah, I won't defend myself. I don't remember what I say half the time.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah.
By the time the episode, I rewatch the episodes, all the episodes, because I just forget what I say.
Yeah.
But Kitty TM is my last one. I think she's a bit of an underrated player. I think if you look at the pure stats on her, it's actually pretty impressive. Like she's actually a really solid player all around. It's just not on a team that shines a lot, right, or gets a lot of shine, and because they don't get the results, right. But if you look at the individual performances, everything lines up that like this is a decent player. So I think I had to just give her a special shout out. My actual top 20 though, Gabi 20. Which is no controversy because she's only 19 in the femalecs.com. The big controversy starts right away though, 1923. And she's actually not on your list or honorable mentions, but she's rated 5 on femalecs.com. So I don't know who's missed the ball.
Okay, I'm gonna say is there are a lot of Nigma players, and I was like, I can't just put all 5 Nigma. I feel weird putting all 5 Nigma players.
And that's
a human thing. Female CS is just an autonomous robot that just turns out results and birthdays.
It's not. But
if we don't tell them about milk, they won't know.
Okay, that's true. Number 18 for me is Fatal. Number 17 is Donnie. I had to put Donnie on here for her second half of the season, or second half of the year. Maybe you could argue she's a little too high, but I just think when you're that young and you produce the performances that you do, you deserve, really, it should lift you above people who've been in the scene for a little while. That's going to be some foreshadowing. Ka is number 16 for me. Only number 14 for femalecs.com. You had a number 7 as well. Astra as well is in my list. You had her 16. I have her 15. Bibian is 14 for me. This
Ooh.
was really tough because Bibian's a player I don't think you can exclude from the list.
Yeah.
She's in all 3 of our lists. But it's like, where do you put her? Like, it's so hard. You know what I mean? It's like, if I put her up against Olga, do I fancy her or Olga? I kind of fancy Olga, right?
So you roll a d20.
No, okay. I like where you're going. Actually,
I'm gonna
like
do
a
that next
blind
time.
rank next
Next time,
time,
yeah, I'm
right?
gonna do that next time. I'm just gonna keep rolling
Yeah.
d20 and see.
Olga, speaking of, is my number 13. She was 6 on femalecs.com. She's 5 on yours as well.
Yeah.
I only have her at number 13. Kat is the other one. Kat is actually not on your list at all,
Probably
and
because I
she's
forgot her
listed
name.
3rd on femalecs.com. Yeah, that's one of those
Again,
things about doing these
it's
lists. You're bound to forget somebody.
forgetting a name. Also,
Yeah.
Enigma players. Please
Enigma
leave me
player,
alone.
yeah. So she's 12 for me though. I think she was really good in CS2. Number 11 for me is Empathy. I have her on the list. I think just a phenomenal player.
Yep.
Number 10 is Bops, which is not on anybody's list. She's not on your list. She's not on femalecs.com's list. But I look at Bops and I'm like, what was the big success behind Black Dragons almost making the playoffs in season 3? Bob's is behind that, right? So I think I like her 2024 outlook as well. I think she's going to be great in 2024. Hanka is number 9, which actually is number 9 on the female CS. So when I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? But didn't swear there. I cut it off.
Okay.
8th is Julie from Brazil.
Yep.
I'm the only one that has her on a list, and I have her 8th. I think
about that.
Yes, and the reason I think about that is because I've put a little bit. This is a very odd year because you have Go and 2, right?
Right.
So I've put a little bit more emphasis on 2, which is why I have Tori as high up the list as I do. More on that in a minute. And I think if you look at Julie, I think she was always a good player in Go, but she was just like that added rifle, right? Everyone's looking at Nani and her performances. Everyone's looking at Poppins and Junger. Now everybody's got to look at Julian too because she is incredible. She's incredible right now in CS2. 7th is GFI. 6th is Junger. So I have her 6th. She was 12th on female CS. She's 11th on yours. 5th for me is Vilga, which is kind of around. There seems to be a consensus with her because I have her 5th, you have her 6th. Femalecs.com has her 7th.
Yep.
Angelica is 4th for me, which is same as you. Femalecs.com has her 8th. I put number 3 at Poppins, and you don't have her. You have her 10th. I'm sorry. Yep. Femalecs.com doesn't have her in the top 20 at all.
Yep.
And I put her on this list because I think people don't I think when you look at Poppins, she's incredibly mechanically gifted. But I think the other thing is some people have that clutch gene. You know what I mean? We talk about MJ, we talk about Kobe, and being great in the clutch. Poppins can be that. Poppins can literally be the Kobe Bryant of Counter-Strike, of women's Counter-Strike. Okay. So I'm serious, man. She is that good.
It's just I'm just Brazilian Mamba mentality.
Hey, listen, the time of this recording, it's actually the 18th anniversary of Kobe's 81-point game. So I want to see 81 kills from Pop's. Like, no, just tease you, but it's just gonna be this 10 overtime game. No, but but the point is, like, on the anniversary of that, I think she could be that kind of a player, like a Kobe Bryant type player who can come in and dominate games, who can also come in and when the team really needs a clutch, can clutch. So I have her 3rd. I think she's just unlike anything we've seen in female CS for a while. Number 2 for me is Tori. I think she's the big reason Enigma continue to have success in 2 because they haven't looked great in 2, but she has looked improved in 2. And then number 1 overall, I think is still Anna. I think it's hard. It was harder for me to put her number 1 this year than last year because I think last year, without a doubt, she was unreal. People were looking at that going, she could play for an advanced or maybe ECL team in Europe last year. This year, I think it's been a little bit slower out of the gates here. I think she dominated season 3 playoffs.
Yeah.
She dominated season 4 playoffs. She hasn't really been there in the group stage of the finals.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why I'm like, maybe she's peaked. We have to see. 2024, 2025 are going to be really interesting because Nigma cannot be top for forever. Somebody has to take him down.
Or ESL Impact dies before that happens.
I'm hoping no.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But that's also a possibility. There is a world where that happens, yes. But
Nigma just says,
the thing is,
oh,
like,
we
there
lost.
are cracks.
No more org support. We're done.
Yeah, there are cracks in the armor at Nigma, but I think, she's phenomenal. But I think there's a chance that if Tori and Kat continue playing the way they do, she actually might get overshadowed by her teammates in 2024. So that's my list. That leaves us with an aggregate list, what we're going to call an aggregate list,
Yep,
right?
between the 3.
So let me explain how I did it because I put the list together, right?
Yeah.
I took everyone's ranking between your list, my list, femalecs.com list. We were actually going to have a guest, but they backed out last minute. So we're going to have four lists.
It's 3.
But
3 lists.
It's 3 lists. You got a point for each position on the list. So Anna's first, she gets 1 point for being in first. And then I took the total points. If you were Parks or Eyes honorable mention, you got 23. And
Yep.
if you were on a list, if you weren't on one of the lists, you got 25. So, for example,
okay.
I picked Poppins.
Yeah.
I'm going to use Poppins as my example, right?
Yeah.
I picked Poppins third. That's 3 points. You picked Poppins 10th. That's 10 points. Female CS didn't put her on her list at all, so that's 25 points. Yeah. The total points for Poppins then 38. Becomes 53. Oh, not 53. Sorry. I messed up the math.
Your math is way
My math is off. Let me fix.
That is.
It is 38. So sorry. So what should we call it? So it becomes 38, and then the average is 12.666 repeating. So I got to send you the updated list.
Yeah, you need to make it updated
really
right
quickly.
now.
Which I'll do. I've literally almost fixed the list for you.
But do you need to go through all of them now?
No.
Are we gonna trust your math?
No. I don't. No. I don't have to go through all of them. We're good. We are literally fine. You just got to give me 2 seconds to actually finish it.
Listen, I'll fill for a second here. So basically, the listing that we've been left with then is a top 30. Of course, there are some players that have ties, and that's kind of where we're gonna break those up in the next little bit here, when the full list is given to me. Because there's a few, certain players get 8. Certain players got a total have an average point of 14 points, which means that they are averagely placed in 14th position, which is exactly kind of what. So I'm in, even looking at the listing right now. That
I'm glad I did that live on the shoot. Otherwise, I wouldn't have found that out while we were going down the list and been like,
"Who?" You wouldn't have been.
But no, I thought you left Poppins off your list. I forgot you didn't put her in there, so that's fine. But the list is fixed and it's sent to you. So
okay, yes, I've got it now. Perfect. Okay, so let's go top down. I think it's the best way to do this, just because we got to go and break some.
No, we can do bottom up.
We got to break some tiebreakers. We got to break some.
We'll break some tiebreakers.
Everybody knows the list. Everybody knows the list, man.
No. Everybody doesn't know the list. That's the whole point. Let's go bottom up.
Okay. Well, starting in the top 30, tied for 30th position, Mads and Vanessa.
Oh, okay. There's a cutoff, so it's literally Mads, Vauzul, Ramzan, Julie, Kitty, Abby, Goddess, Fox.
We're not
Kiosa.
ranking all those players. They're all equal.
But they're all tied for 30.
They're
so
all
I'm not
equal.
Yeah.
They're all equal.
Essentially.
Great. Thanks. That was sorry. I'm really in a testing mood right now because we should have just started from the top and gone.
That's fine.
In 27th position, where it really starts to matter, in terms of stuff, is these are the players that were honorably named twice. It looks, and that is Zhawu, Olya, and Bukur. All 3 were named as honorable mentions by the 2 of us, and of course they were. That side. Coming in at 26th then is Bobs. 25th is Donna. 23rd, Donnie. As well as Victoria. I would say Victoria is more impactful on that one than Donnie, just because one.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
9 p.m.
I
is
mean, 2
fearless.
land finals, mate.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
22nd is Letty, and 21st is Gabi. So that's
Right.
the not top 20.
Right.
So I think we got another tiebreaker here.
Yes. 19th and 20th. Goose Breeder and Nani.
Yeah.
Who are you picking?
Goose Breeder.
Who am I picking?
I don't know.
Nice try. I'm picking Nani.
I'll
So I would say
get a coin out. Start flipping
no.
coins.
I would say the only tiebreaker I would put, or the only condition I would put as a tiebreaker, is that Nani was on female Siesta's list. Goose Breeder didn't make it. So
Yeah,
I would
that's
say
I would. You know what? I'll agree with that.
Nani should be 19th
Nani is
off
19th.
that,
Goose Breeder is 20th.
and Goose
So,
Breeder is 20th.
perfect.
So Goose Breeder just sneaks into the top 20.
Cool. All right, coming in at 18th then is Nina. Coming in at 17th is Empathy. Coming in at 16th is 3. 15th is Vi. And then we've got 3 players tied for 12th.
No,
Yes.
we have 14th is Astra,
Yeah.
and then we have 2 players tied for 12th.
Your points are off then.
I sent you a new list.
I did look at the average points between.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. You're right. So we still have 2.
We have
I did
2.
swear now.
We have 2.
We have 2.
Astra and Fatal are tied for 14th and 13th positioning.
That's the only other mistake I'm seeing on the
Okay.
besides popping, or yeah, no, that's the only other mistake I'm seeing.
So I forget which
this
team
is
Astra.
tough.
I forget which
This
team
is
Astra.
tough.
Hold on, who did Astra play for?
NIP.
Oh, Fatal.
So part of you wants to say yes, right? Because obviously
Land
Fatal made the
finals.
2 lands, right?
And she was huge.
And we've
during
already
those
used
lands.
that. Like we set the precedent of that, right?
Yeah.
But between Victoria and Donnie, but at the same time, like mechanically, I would say Astra's way more gifted. But well, I shouldn't say way more gifted. That's being harsh to
That's
Fatal.
harsh. First of all. Second of all, that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at overall.
You're right.
Overall impressiveness.
You're
throughout
right.
The season. Throughout the
The
year.
interesting, the interesting thing is too, 2 of us have Astra ranked higher than Fatal.
Okay.
Female CS and myself.
Yeah.
So this is really.
I think at the end of the day, you have to look and go Fatal because her team made the finals twice, and it is a team sport, and we're looking at individuals. However, Fatal was instrumental in both of those runs.
You're not wrong, and I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
I will start flipping this.
No, okay. Flip it once and just see. But heads for Astra, tails for Fatal.
Ooh.
This is what it's come down to.
Okay.
All the viewers out there.
It is tails. Oh, sorry, it's heads.
That's for Astra. So it doesn't help our point at all.
Nope.
But I'll give it to you and put Fatal 13th and Astra 14th.
Okay.
It's pretty hard to pick between the 2. I mean, honestly.
Well, it's gonna get
Female
worse.
CS had 4 places between the 2 of them, and I had 3. So it is difficult.
I have Astra on my.
Yes, you had her 16th. You had Fatal 9th. So you actually had
7 place difference.
Yeah, you had the largest gap. Moving on with the list. Cat is 12th.
Yep.
Poppins is 11th.
Yep.
Ka is 10th. And then we have Hanka at 9th.
Yep.
Bibion in 8th.
Yeah.
And then we have a tie for 6th between Viku and Junger. And this this is awful because they're both offers.
Yeah.
They've both made the land finals. Like this is tough, mate.
Viku is rated 2nd by both myself and female. And you didn't even put her on your list.
Yeah, I know. Remember what I called out? Who was it
Yeah,
I called out for
I
you?
forget who.
This,
Oh,
and you were like, "Oh,
23,
cat,
23
cat."
and
No,
cat.
it was cat, and you were like, "I forgot." This is me going, I forgot.
I
Like,
forgot.
I forgot, chat. So,
Okay, I think we put
okay.
Viku ahead of Junger.
I hate to say it, but yes, because not only did they both make the finals and whatnot, but
Viku went farther in
correct in both. She made the
both.
finals in both, whereas Junger was a semifinalist in
Yeah.
both. That's a really tough pick, though. Like a lot of people are going to look at that and say, "Oh, Viku all day," which I don't blame them for. But if you follow the Brazilian scene closely,
You're like,
then
well,
it becomes a
Junger.
difficult pick
Yeah.
because you see the skill for both of them, and you're like, "This is like, it's like watching the same player, mate." I'm gonna be honest with you.
All
So,
right. So then we go from one tie to another.
yep.
Olga and Vilga tied for fifth and sixth. Or sorry, fourth and fifth. My bad. This luckily this is the last tiebreaker because this is the hardest one of them all. I think. The edge I'm going to give is I'm going to give it to Vilga, and I think that's because of the lack of. That's not even a good reason. It's not even a good reason because she played with Furia for the first half of the year.
No, she didn't. She played with HSG the whole year. Olga swapped over in
When did she swap?
the announcement was in January,
That's right.
and she played.
Oh,
She didn't start playing with them
2023,
until
man.
March.
Yeah.
Because
Oh my
remember,
goodness.
remember this. I remember it clearly now. Sometimes my brain works, sometimes it doesn't. Mate,
Yeah.
they made the announcement in January, and she didn't move to Malaysia until March. And they
Right.
had the Take Game Goddess Cup in February, and they had to use Naomi as a stand-in for
That's
that one,
right. Yeah.
which they won
I
anyway. But still,
I think I give it to Vilga. And the reason I give it to Vilga is
okay.
because um
She's
she
won 2 lands. Or 3 lands.
she's won more land.
3 this year. 3 lands
Yeah.
last year.
See,
Uh
none of this is the thing. So female CS rated them beside each other as well. I rated them beside each other,
yeah.
and you put Olga way low on your list versus Vilga
Mhm.
up high.
I'll give
So
you a really good argument, not to cut you off, but I'll give you a
no,
really good argument
give me
as
the
to
argument.
that'll support your cause for Vilka, by the way.
Okay.
So we had 3 lands this year, a standalone in the 2 finals.
Yep.
Vilga won an MVP at one of those lands. So not only did they win all 3 lands, she won an MVP award.
Yeah.
An HLTV MVP award, mind
Yeah.
you, for one of those lands. So
What's the reasoning
yeah,
for
I'll
Olga?
give it to you.
What's the
I'll,
reasoning for Olga?
My reasoning for Olga is because she comes from a more difficult region and produces the amount of performances that she produces. Like it is unreal. Like it
More
is
difficult
actually
region.
insane how sick she is.
I don't want to say. Oh, you say more difficult is in Brazil, or more difficult is in
No, it's in
Asia.
Asia.
There's there's
Not
nothing
more
in.
difficult within a region. I meant it's more difficult for teams out of those regions to compete on an international
Right.
stage.
I think you have to look at HSG like they're almost as if they're from like North America or South America. Because they've gone to multiple lands in a row. They don't have any domestic. They don't have much in the way of domestic play for sure.
Right.
But I think it's one of those things of like
It
their level of play is already there just inherently because of the players.
Yeah, it really sucks that we can't see real 20-second side tangent. It
Yeah.
really sucks that we can't see these teams play consistently out of China
Yeah.
because of all the regulation or whatever. Because you look at a region that doesn't have the competitiveness or the competitions, and you look at globally where those regions are. North America, South Africa, and Australia, right?
Yeah.
And 2 of those regions, partly ESL's doing, but 2 of those regions are not competitive on the world stage.
Yeah.
Really. North America and South Africa. North America is a little bit with FlyQuest, yes, but the second team has not been competitive, period. I hate to say that.
Right. Okay.
Different reasons for each land, sure, but
Yeah.
overall, it's not been competitive.
Right.
And then you get this team that nobody knows about, that we don't get to see a lot of competition for. They don't play a lot of competition that we know about, but they scrim a lot. And they come into the world finals and they just start beating these regions that have competitive teams out. You
Right.
know what I mean? They knock their teams out. So it's like it is really a testament to how good that this team has been built by HSG and Ramona and whatnot. But still, that shouldn't give Olga the advantage over Vilka. Getting back to the point, I think you look at it, it's like you've won an HLTV award for a LAN, like an international LAN. Like you have to give it to Vilka. There's
Yeah.
no argument otherwise, really.
100%. Okay. Well, so Vilga goes to 4th and Olga to 5th. And then our top 3 are
Reverse,
Angelka.
scratch that. Reverse it. Olga
What did I
goes to
say?
5th.
Sorry.
Vilga goes to 4th.
My brain. I'm trying to get out of here.
It's all
We're at
good.
58 minutes.
We're good. We're good.
I know, but I want to go. Shimmer stuff, man. I'm a busy man.
That's fine, dude. Let's get on with it. Kick on with the final 3.
Final 3: Angelka in number 3rd, Tori in number B, Anna in that dot you use to make a point. Start things off.
Wait, what?
Anna in the I position, Tori in the B position, Angelka in the 3rd position.
What are you talking about? IB? What are you looking at?
I is in a Roman numeral for 1.
Oh.
B as in it's the 2nd letter in the alphabet.
What?
Have you never heard that? Point 1,
no.
point B, point I. No?
I have, but not in that context where you just go from Roman numeral to letter to. It's usually one. It's usually I, A, I, B.
No.
I, C.
Okay,
Or it's I.
You don't know the joke.
And then
You don't know the
A,
joke. You don't know the
B,
joke.
C, D. I don't know the joke because I'm not Canadian, mate.
That's not a Canadian joke. It's like when you're talking to when you're in like an argument and somebody who's like a little like dim-witted, they're like, point 1, this.
So every
Point
episode of the
B,
Brain
this.
Impact podcast,
And my 4th point, and like it's like they have important points to say, but they don't know the listing. They don't know how to make a list.
I got you. Okay.
All right. So Anna, Tori, Angelka, Vilga, Olga, Viku, Junger, Bibian, Honka, Ka, Poppins, Kat, Fatal, Astra, GFI, 23, Empathy, Lena, Nani, Goosebreeder are the top 20 from the aggregate. That's quite a list. I'm surprised I remembered it even with the tiebreakers. So, on that note, Benny, we've got 2 weeks before the next episode. What are you watching?
I'll leave you the Cash Cups because I know you're gonna watch the Cash Cups.
No, listen. We can both watch the Cash Cups. It's
That's
not
fine.
like one person can only watch.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm watching mainly the Cash Cups.
Yeah.
I might put another poll out to see if I want to go if people want me to go bell to bell. I'm not.
Everybody's gonna say yes just to torture you. I hope you realize.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna do that this weekend because girlfriend and I have to go out for birthday celebrations.
Woo.
So because I just turned 36 last week. So listen, why you laugh like that, bro? Come on. But no, nonetheless. So
funny.
it won't be this weekend, but the next weekend I might go bell to bell with the exception of Europe, so I can actually go get to the gym, and we'll see. But that's what I'm mainly watching. A little bit of the ECA seasons as well because I'm going to commentate the VODs.
Yep.
Or the demos, but that's about it. Parks, what are you watching, mate?
Well, we've got the Cash Cups, of course.
Yep.
We've also got League Play. FlyQuest Red, of course, in the middle of they're just getting into the start of their advanced season. Got Shimmer already going through their IM throws. You've got like Karma there. You've got Nouns, well, a bunch of different teams in IM that will be interesting to watch because the one thing that screwed over Shimmer the first time round because they made you have to remember Karma and Shimmer both made it to the playoffs last season of IM. Karma ended up losing their first match, unfortunately, but Shimmer didn't even get the chance to play because they were in Europe, so there was no chance for them to play playoffs. The first day of playoffs was the first day of Valencia, so there was no chance. It was not going to happen.
And they did that thing where like you had to play playoffs every single day.
Well, no, I think
so there wasn't even a chance.
It was like every 2 or 3 days, but it wouldn't have mattered because their first matchup. There's no. I don't think there's. There's no double elim. I think in IM at this point, just a single elim.
No, it's single
because there's too many teams, right? So, Shimmer didn't even get the chance, but they tried through the main qualifier this time and they didn't make it. They didn't have enough elo to go through for the advanced one, but they've been playing really well. They played really well in the qualifiers that in the past little bit here. So it'll be very interesting to see the rest of their IM season, and then also kind of help them in terms of seeing where the season goes. Because of course, acting general manager here, I have to keep saying
I
that
believe.
every single
I
time. I
believe they
will
could
keep
be a
saying
main
that.
team.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I think they
I
could.
believe it.
I think they have hopes to be in advance. Honestly, I could see it
Mm.
happening. Not this season, maybe, but for sure in the near.
Do we have to? Oh, are they going to be the ant that tries to move the rubber tree plant? Is that what it is?
I have no idea what you just said, and I think that is the
Oh, it's the
perfect way.
song.
I think that is
It's
the
the
perfect
song.
time to end the episode without even explaining what it is, so you can sit and stew for 2 weeks.
You didn't use your swear, so all I'm gonna say is Parks, fuck off.
All right. We're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another episode catching up on everything that happens. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.